Today we're using the if and ifs functions. So first let's go ahead and see who's met the goal of $500. So go ahead and type equals if, and then if you want to see the formula, go ahead and press the FX button at the top. So for our first logical test, we want to go ahead and see if each employee's weekly sales were greater than $500. And you can put 500 here, but that's kind of hard coding, so let's go ahead and click our daily goal that we already have populated in the C column. If this is true, we can say yes, that they do get their bonus, and if it's false, we'll say no. Okay, and we can auto-populate by clicking this right square at the bottom, and it'll auto-populate, and we see 450 is less than 500, so they do not get their bonus, and then 600 is greater than 500, so they'll get their bonus, and it checks out all the way down. So now if we want to go ahead and look at the ifs function, which allows you to test multiple independent ifs, then we can go ahead and type equals ifs, and in our case, if an employee had over $1,000 of weekly sales, we'll say that they got the gold status, and if it was between 500 and 1,000, we'll say they get silver, and then if it was less than $500, we'll say they get bronze. So go ahead and start with your biggest values first. You can start with your smallest, but you might have to add a little bit more logical statements in there. So we'll go ahead and say weekly sales greater than, and we can also open up our formula here. We'll say our weekly sales greater than $1,000. This will be our first check. If this is true, then we'll say that they have the gold status, and then your second logical test will pop up. So what we want to do is if our sales are greater than $500, then they'll get the silver. And our last one here is if their sales were less than $500, they'll get bronze. So weekly sales less than 500. And sometimes your last one doesn't pop up here. So go ahead and go to the top, and we can finish this off by putting bronze up here in our formula. Okay, and finally auto-populating. Let's just make sure this checks out. So bronze because we had less than $500, silver because we were between 500 and 1,000, gold because we are greater than 1,000, and then we have bronze and silver. So it looks good.